Hi, moms and daughters. Welcome to another episode of Dear Mom, Dear Daughter. I'm Nta.
And I'm Ati, her mom.
Her mom. And thank you for joining us for another episode. Today we're talking about something a little bit interesting, Mama. A little spicy. We're talking about discipline and sparing the rod. And whether hitting those kids is still the solution, whether corporal punishment even works. What our feelings are upon this one, especially in the South African context. I think this one could have could introduce some very differing ideas, right?
So in other words, I'm in the hot seat today.
You are in the hot seat.
I must be accountable for all the actions I took when you were younger. So it's going to be a tough one for us moms. Yeah, we're in the cooking pot today.
It's so nice to be sitting on this side of the podcast where I can be like, so that time when you sent me outside to go and fetch the steak. Not that you ever did that, but I'm going to ask you and you must answer and it must make sense. But that's what we're talking about, right? Is that still an appropriate way or an effective way to discipline your children? Does it work? Is it legal? And in the absence of corporal punishment or, what are the ways to really discipline your children and keep them in check? I have a memory of you, Mama.
Okay, we're ready into it.
You're ready?
Yes.
We're not wasting any time. And I just want to say that this is not, we're not going to drag our parents today. Like, I'm not going to drag you or we're just reflecting on how, your style of discipline might have shaped me and how your style of discipline might have shaped you. And even you, Mama, I'm sure there are things growing up that you took away that you didn't like, didn't agree with, and maybe shaped the way that you decided to raise your own children, right? So,
Novalo.
I spoke in the first episode about how when I was younger, you and I, you were not my friend. Like, I was scared of you. You were strict. But I can't remember what had happened one time. I think I probably lost something or forgot something at school. And I have this memory of you saying you prepared me for the fact that I was about to get a hiding, like I was about to get smacked. But what startled me and what I didn't understand back then is that you would lead by saying, I don't want to do this. It doesn't give me pleasure to do this, but I'm doing this because I love you. I'm like, if you love me, you wouldn't be putting me through so much pain. Like, why are you doing this? Like, I don't get it. But you really would emphasize that this is coming from a place of love, you know? And I'm like, to me, I'm like, girl, please, like, if you love, like, But what was going on in your head with that? What was up with that? Doing it because I love you.
There's so much in this conversation. And I think I'm conflicted somewhat because I don't know how to present. Do I present as Ati the mom or Ati the psychologist?
Just be mommy right now. Psychologist is coming.
They can, yeah. So I think from a starting point as a mom, having conversations like these, you need to be able to regulate yourself.
Take a deep breath, Mama.
Yourself. Be ready to receive that feedback, which may not always be positive. Yeah. Be ready to account for your mistakes. Some you may not even know were mistakes, but by having the feedback from your child, you need to be able to be open to receive that feedback and be open to actually accept that, okay, potentially that was a mistake if it made somebody feel otherwise. So, yeah, I think that's the standing point. Firstly, just, regulating myself and being ready for the conversation and being open to have the conversation because talking about things in retrospect is always different, right?
Yes.
So you've got the benefit of retrospect because you're looking back, but I was in real time making the decisions. So, and I also might feel differently now
Than you
about
did then.
actions I did
Yes.
then and how I approach certain things. So it's a very difficult, precarious place to be in. So having said that, it was difficult. So I grew up with children were beaten. Although my parents my dad never ever has beaten me. He did beat the boys though a few times. My brothers. But my mom, I think my mom has beaten me no more than 5 times.
You can
I can't
count?
even count. I can remember 3 times.
Yeah.
I don't even think, it was more than 3. So I wasn't really beaten. But there was a culture of beating children. At school also, I was beaten.
At school?
I was with a duster. We had to do like
At
this.
school?
And then they beat you with a duster like this. At
On your
school,
fingers?
Primary school.
No, what is a duster?
Oh.
Like a ruler? Or what?
No, that thing to dust the board. You guys don't know it. You already had smart boards in your time. So we had a chalk and duster.
Yes.
The white chalk that you'd use to write on the board. So teachers used to beat us with the duster, the one to wipe off the board.
On your fingers?
With the back of that thing because it's a wood type of thing. And then you had to make like this and then they beat you.
That was allowed.
It was allowed. Even
like,
canes. Teachers had canes. That was a standard, had canes, and they either beat you on the bum or on your hand.
In your generation?
Yes.
That was like ages back. Like
no, in my generation.
Oh, okay. Wow. So even at schools, that was a thing.
So even at schools, corporal punishment was allowed and practiced. So there was a big culture of beating children. And of course, then with you, I think you were already in school when they said corporal punishment is now illegal.
I remember, yeah.
And we're like, oh. I mean, we were hardly
South Africans
beating.
Like,
yeah. So what must we do with them? You're telling us not to beat them. What must we do with them? So it really, and as a parent, even though you're in a culture where beating is legal, at the time when I was raising you initially, it was legal. But there's a discomfort that you feel also. And I think this is the experience of most children. That's why I said to you, I don't want to do it. It hurts me more than I probably you or,
Yeah.
There's a discomfort you feel with exerting this pain on your child. There's a discomfort you feel with your child crying and their pain. But there is this ringing in your head but what if I'm spoiling my child if I don't do this?
Yes.
You feel it is your parental responsibility to actually do this. And that comes out really from fear. You are fearful that I'm going to spoil this child and this child will not know right from wrong if I don't do this. I'm going to spoil this child and they won't value things. They won't value respect. They won't value, their school uniform, their possessions. They won't take pride in them if I don't do this. So there's that conflict where you really don't want to do this, but you're scared that if you don't, you're actually doing a disservice and a disjustice to your child in the long run. So that's what that is. But it did become illegal. And it is illegal. And why it is illegal is because it's really, really harmful. So the government doesn't just sleep and wake up one day and decide this is wrong. No. There's been years and years of research, evidence-based information that proves that beating children is harmful. It is harmful to their psyche. It is harmful to their self-esteem, their self-worth. It is harmful. There is no good thing that comes from it. And it is absolutely unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary. You can raise children, perfectly well-adjusted children, without them being harmed, without beating them. I know a lot of parents, the question I often get asked is, but Tina sas betwa and here we are.
Exactly. We're fine.
We turned out okay.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm saying, you probably did turn out okay, but it wasn't necessary. Let's start there. Necessity. Okay. So it probably wasn't necessary. You could have still turned out okay without the beating. So it is not impactful, right? Number one. So you don't need to do it. We'll talk about other strategies. I think that is what's missing, right? Then in the absence of this thing, what do I then do? And we'll need to talk about that. But yeah, one, it is absolutely necessary. And two, it has a potential to be very harmful. So potential doesn't mean every single child who's beaten will be harmed. But it means there's a greater risk of harm if you do it than if you don't. That's what that means. And when you think about it, children are, what is this? They get their self-esteem from you as the parent. So they get their sense of identity and their sense of self-worth. Who am I in the world? Do I matter in the world, etc.? That all comes from how they are perceived and treated within the home, right? So that's why it comes from you as the parent. If you treat them with respect, they will know that they are respectable and they will respect themselves. If you treat them to know that their body is their own, they have autonomy, they have agency in their own life, and they have a right not to be harmed, to be protected. But with that right comes the responsibility of acting appropriately. If you foster that type of thinking in the home, that is the well-adjusted adult that you will get at the end of it. Right. And it's very important also to mark in this conversation and probably preface the whole conversation before we get into strategies, etc. To really be curious about your child. Know that children are unique beings from the day they're even conceived in your belly. Right? They don't start being unique when they are Taolanga's age, when she can now talk back and have opinions and all of that as a young adult. Then I can start conversing with you on what do you like? What do you this? What do you prefer? What do you like about me? What do you know? Yeah. They have preferences about you, about the world, about other people, about everything right from the onset. Right? So if we can hold that and have that respect, we can also begin to understand that even if you have more than one child in the home, they are different human beings with their unique interests, preferences, feelings, ways of doing things, right? So if you can hold that, because also as parents we like to say, but your brother, but your cousin, but you're this.
The comparison.
Doing this, the comparisons. Yeah. And it gets very frustrating for both parties, right? When we're trying to have a particular type of behavior and discipline. So hold that your child, your one child, is unique even amongst their siblings, right? And begin to be curious about that child and their preferences and their way of being, and their interests. And then the second most important thing I'd like us to hold in this conversation is that all behavior is communication. All behavior is communication of something. So if you are having negative behavior, especially chronic negative behavior, it's a communication of something. And you need to be curious, what is my child communicating? Even if it's your child, maybe a younger child coming back from school, and each time they come back from school, they're throwing things around, or they don't listen, or they're jumping on the couch, and they don't listen to no, don't do this, no, whatever behavior you don't like. Instead of getting frustrated with the child and wanting to over,
pull them by the ear.
Exactly.
Yay. Understand that there's an issue happening there.
Start paying attention to the communication. Bana ay man call umntana every time he's coming back from this particular place, from school, this is how he behaves. But on the weekend, I don't see this behavior. So you'll begin to pick up patterns, which will give you a clue. But you will miss those patterns if the curiosity is not there, if the understanding and the acceptance that all behavior is communication isn't there. So those are the two things we need to hold before, as we're having this conversation and going forward generally as parents.
You spoke about how each child is unique and possibly their behaviors won't be the same to their brothers or their sisters or whoever. So I'm understanding then that you're saying that the way you discipline each child will be different as well between all of them.
Respond. Let's use the word respond. How you respond to the one child may be different to how you respond to the other child. Because remember, I think maybe breaking down the word discipline.
Right.
Discipline is about correcting and teaching. That's what it's about. It's not about punishment. So when you say discipline, maybe you'll think, okay, you shout at this one more, this one is punished more, this one
what? Yes.
No.
How do we define then the difference between discipline and punishment?
Yeah. So discipline is not punishment. The goal of discipline is to teach and guide, right? A child.
Okay. Sounds like a nice word then, actually, because when I hear the D word, discipline, I'm like, it sounds harsh, it sounds not nice, sounds strict, sounds boring.
Yeah.
But teaching.
Yeah. So discipline is a response to you're responding to something that needs correction. And that response is showing the person that this is incorrect, why it's incorrect, and teaching them an alternative. This is what it should be, and this is why it should be this way, and this is how you can do it this way, which is the correct way. So that's what discipline is about. So you certainly will respond differently to different children because they are unique. Your responses cannot be uniform. Otherwise, you'll miss one child somewhere, somehow.
How would you then define punishment in a way that is different to discipline?
Punishment is a consequence of discipline. So, and even then, punishment should be a way for a child to reflect on the teaching that you've taught. So they should reflect on their behavior. That's what you want to encourage. So I don't even like the word punishment either, because it has a connotation of inflicting pain. Right. But that's not the point of it. The point you want with discipline is you want to encourage reflection, which will then have a positive behavioral outcome. So, for example, with the little ones, if you're putting them in timeout.
Naughty corner.
Yeah, we don't call it naughty corner. We should not call it naughty corner, because now you're labeling the child
as naughty.
Yeah, and they internalize themselves as naughty. And if they internalize themselves as naughty, guess what they will do?
They'll be naughty forever.
Be naughty. Yes. Yeah. They will project the naughtiness that you are identifying them with.
That's interesting. So we call it timeout.
We call it timeout because they need time to think. That is why it's timeout. You put them in timeout, and timeout really is not even only for the little ones, even teenagers. Go to your room. How we frame things is important, right? You're grounded.
You're grounded.
Yeah. It's good. Fine. You're grounded. Go to your room because you need time to think. You need timeout. So go have your timeout. Go and reflect. And it should always be after you've had a conversation. Well, it can be after or before. With the little ones, it usually helps to have a conversation afterwards, because by the time you tell them they need time out, they're in tears, they're begging for their life.
On the floor screaming.
Or they're throwing a bigger tantrum, throwing things, So maybe let's think about this. So with the younger children, with timeout specifically, because we're into strategies now, right?
Yes.
With the younger ones, if they are having a tantrum and all that, you talk to them. So you would have given them warnings, right? They would know what is expected of them, what behavior is desirable, undesirable, and why. this behavior is not correct, right? So you would have told them that. And then if they continue with the undesirable behavior, you tell them, it's enough. You need time because now you know what is right. I've told you why this is right. So you need to go sit down and have a think and how you're going to correct this next time, how you're not going to break the cup or break whatever the child has done next time. So they are likely going to retaliate with more, either with tears or with more misbehavior, right?
Mm-hmm.
One, what you need to do as the parent is to remain calm. Also, at the beginning of the episode, when I felt difficult feelings with what you said, I was like,
breathe.
Let me get myself some calmness, pull myself towards myself. So you always need to work on your own calmness, regulating your own self as a parent so that you don't react, because it's so easy to be frustrated and react, right? In those moments, it can really be frustrating. So you are calm and you allow the child to cry. You don't force them to be calm. You do whatever and you don't back down. So if you've said it's time out, you must always say what you said you're going to do as a parent. You've got to
follow
stick
through
to
with
it.
the consequence that you promised.
Yeah. If you don't, it actually creates more problems, more anxiety in the child, etc. So you have to do what you say you'll do. So you still have to have them go to the timeout space, whether it's a corner, whether it's, to face the wall, even if you're in the same room. We live in South Africa. Some people live in one rooms. Not everyone has the luxury of space or the privilege of space. So even if you live in a shack, or you live in a one bedroom place, you're all in the same space, they can face the wall and maybe cross their legs, sit still, nothing around them, no toy, etc. Because what you're encouraging is reflection, right? And you tell them that they must think about what they've done and how they're going to correct it. Then when they come out of that space, they will come and tell you. So even when they are 2 years old, you start that practice already. Even if when they come out, they are babbling, they don't know what to say, you now help them with the language, right? Because now they are calm and they've gone to have time to think, even if it's 3 minutes. Hey, at 2 years old, it's all symbolic. And then when they come out, you guys have the conversation. So what did you think about? Okay, what did you learn from what you thought about? If they struggle, you help them give the language. Okay, it's possible that when you were breaking the cup, maybe you felt excited, you didn't know it would go that way. And then when the cup broke, maybe you felt regretful, maybe you felt scared, or maybe you felt angry and you wanted to get my attention, or maybe so you interpret whatever the scenario is. You give them language, and you give them language of feelings. Because why 2-year-olds and younger children generally act out a lot is because they don't have the language to express themselves.
Yes.
So they get frustrated a lot, and they, with being misunderstood, which I think we can all understand. Being misunderstood is frustrating.
It is frustrating. Yeah. And it makes you want to explode a little bit. So you can kind of understand the lashing out and the bad behavior that can come out. And it's not always a true reflection of you as a person. Even if I were 5 years old, it's just this feeling that I can't contain and can't articulate in a helpful way. Yeah.
So help them give the language, help them give the feelings, and let them know that you understand, and let them know your feelings, that when you did this, I felt this way, right? So model the feelings again, apart from teaching them. And then you can say that, but even when I have these kind of feelings, so maybe negative feelings, I love you. I love you all the time. I love you even when you and I disagree. I love you even when I feel upset with something that you've done. I love you. So just validate, especially for the younger children, so that they don't internalize the bad behavior as them being bad, right? They can separate themselves and the behavior, right? And know that you are reprimanding the behavior. You are sad or you are angry or frustrated about the behavior, not about them as a human. Yeah.
From the perspective of a mother who has grown up at a time where beating your children or hitting your children was a norm and was thought of as the most effective way, I can imagine that hearing from you that speaking to your children and understanding their feelings of where this behavior is coming from can sound almost too soft. And will it work? Is it effective? Hi man, this child doesn't listen. What do you have to say to those parents, those mothers in particular?
I say one, trust. We are humans. Humans need only one thing to be thriving, successful, good people in the world. One thing, connection. We need connection. So I think if you can get that right, connecting with your child, that's the most powerful way to correct behavior. If you have a relationship. So what's connection, right? It's one, to be curious about your child, be an attentive. We talk about maternal sensitivity. Be attentive to your child. Be a responsive mother. So it doesn't mean having copious amounts of time available playing with your child all the time, but you need to have a sense of knowing your child and responding to their needs, being curious. So having conversations like knowing their friends. Who are your friends? What did you do today at school? What do you do? Oh, so how's so-and-so? So connection. And, we seem to really get this in the context of romantic relationships.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right?
You just spend quality time to boost your relationship. Yes.
Exactly. And we understand that an ailing romantic relationship, for instance, can be repaired with quality time.
Yes.
Right? Where someone is attentive,
That's
they're
so
interested, they're interested in your day, they're interested in you, in your life, they're interested in your interests, your preferences, they're really interested in you. And that really breeds a closeness and it encourages behavior. So you won't cheat if you've got, that type of warm environment in your...
Where you feel seen.
When you feel seen, you feel valued, you feel heard in your relationship. It's a nice, soft, gooey. You just want this to last forever. You just want to do right by your partner when your partner is responsive to you in that way. It's exactly the same for children. Children thrive when they feel seen, heard, and valued by their parents because they are in a relationship with their parents.
Yes. It's so interesting because you can hear that there's a specific generational sort of difference there because we've come from a time where children weren't supposed, they must be seen, but definitely not heard, and they definitely mustn't disturb because the grown-ups are talking, they must stay in their corner and do their thing. But now sort of encouraging the fact that children are their own sweet little entities and beings and they ought to be heard and valued, hearing that can encourage better behavior from them, stronger behavior, but good behavior from them if they feel connected and seen is quite interesting and could be a very different take, I think, for especially in the South African context where that isn't really modeled so much, but you can see like the parenting style is differing, because the conversations that I have with my friends now is the idea of even having to hit my children when I do have children feels like it feels uncomfy. It feels like something I'd never have the capacity to do. But I also understand that I'd feel stuck now if I have to find this way to discipline my children, show them the right way without having to be, hard on them, So it's very interesting how the feelings thing and being human with your child at every stage, whether it's 2 years old or 14 or, that feeling and connection thing can be the solution to what you might identify as poor behavior that needs punishing.
It absolutely is the solution. It's the first solution, and it's preventative as well. Because then you just by doing that, you can prevent a lot of undesirable behavior. And it links to attachment theory. I've seen on social media there's a lot of understanding, a lot of talking about attachment, etc.
Yes.
So people are beginning to have the information, and that's a scientific psychological theory based on years and years, generations and generations of research. So I think the access to information is what's influencing society to change, to look for better ways. As human beings, we're always looking for better ways to do things, and we're beginning to realize that children seen, not heard is probably not the best way. Because with attachment, your attachment style shows up in every area of your life as an adult. So it shows up at work, it shows up in your social life, so with friends, with romantic partners. It shows up in how you relate to your own self. So an attachment is fostered very early on, between 0 and 5 years. Your attachment style is set.
Really? So
Yes.
much happens between 5 years old, I see.
It's a critical time. In fact, right from in utero, we talk about the first 1,000 days in the psychology field, and that's really from conception to 2 years old. Really critical, because a child's brain is forming pathways. It's literally wiring as to what is this place that I'm at. Who am I? Who is this person? Who is the mom or the caregiver, the primary caregiver whom the child connects to? So these are people. How do these things called people, operate in this place? How do I relate to them? So it's really critical. And then also, I suppose, the following 3 years also are, quite important. But by 5 years, your child's brain is really set. And then it just matures from there. And full executive brain functioning is at full capacity at about 25 years old. But in terms of attachment and brain development, your brain is fully developed from about 5 years, pretty much.
Whoa. There's a lot of critical things happening there. Okay, so I suppose then once you've established that connection thing and that sort of respect for your child as his or her own being, it probably then makes it easier to teach and direct without having to be, physical or in any way.
It does. So that's the first component, connection. And 2, if then, because children are children, they're still learning, right? And they're going to push boundaries a bit because they're testing.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes knowingly testing, and sometimes, unknowingly. They don't know. They've just literally arrived.
Just got here
in this place. So they're still trying to figure this place out. They're trying to figure themselves out, and they're trying to figure their place in this place, in the world. So it's really a confusing time for children, and a time where they grow in leaps and bounds. So you need to give them some grace and some empathy as well. And there definitely will be mistakes, and there will be misbehavior. So when that shows up, you pretty much respond the same way. So with curiosity, you try to understand, what could this behavior be communicating? Where could this be coming from? Is this child angry? With who? With me? Did I do something? Did I not do something? Was there something that could have happened at school? Because our children spend a lot of time at school, right?
Yes.
could there have been something that happened at school? Why is this child banging doors? Or, why is this child, having this cranky face? Tineke, especially as African parents, we don't even like,
We like the tone of your voice.
Yay, lungiso bobuso.
Before I fix it for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
We've been through it.
We've been through it. Because those are the things I used to say to you and do to you. But especially as Xhosa moms, I don't know why we have a reputation as Xhosa moms.
So many expressions from Xhosa mommies. Y'all are scary.
Yeah. So, so when we do all that, also think, and sometimes, it's fine to say that because you want your home to be a certain way, and it's okay to have rules. In fact, you absolutely do have to have rules for your home.
Yeah.
So if you don't want people isolating in the bedroom in your house, that's perfectly fine. And they must say, yay, puma room. That's fine. If you don't want the mood or the energy in your home to change, you want it to be a certain thing, they must fix that face.
Yeah. They must fix that face. They must fix the face.
They must fix the face.
But you stop before. Are we stopping before? I'll fix it for you.
No, we're not fixing it for people. We're not doing that one anymore.
We're leaving that behind.
Yes, but they must fix the face.
Yes.
Because
those are the rules of the home.
Yes, and they must know why. Because your face affects the mood and the energies of everyone else in the home. Mm-hmm. So please, this is our safe haven. We've come from work, we've come from school, we've come from difficult things or environments out there. Here, this is our haven we want to. So fix your face. If you have something to express it, but you're not going to just be moping JJ, right? That's fine. So you can have that conversation, but fix the face. Then you begin to wonder what could be wrong. Then you engage the child. Are you okay? Did something happen at school? Are you upset by something? No. Was it this? Is it me? Did something happen at home?
Yeah.
It might be you. So you need to
be ready for that.
Yeah. So just really having open, vulnerable engagement.
Dialogue.
Dialogue is everything in families. Dialogue.
Okay, I love it when we do a challenge with every episode, because I think that's one of the practical ways that we can all heal and thrive together. So in terms of connecting and understanding, you mentioned how important it is for parents to be curious about their children so they can really pick up on where the problematic behaviors they might be noticing, where they come from, what are they feeling, what are they going through, is there something that they can help them work through. What is a sort of practical way that families can work together to promote that curiosity and that dialogue? Because we all just do our things in compartments. We're a very individualistic sort of society these days. How do we work past that? What is something that we can do in the next coming couple of weeks to try out?
I love this. So our family units are really a representation of the greater society. Like we said in the previous episode, we need to bring back that family culture of connecting and spending time as a unit and having dialogue. So I love this question that you're asking me. What parents can do specifically is to spend, there's what we call special time.
Okay.
Where you are spending quality time with your child, preferably one-on-one. Children might be a challenge if you've got like 5 children. But preferably one-on-one, right? You and the child, and whatever activity you're doing is led by the child. So your child, even if they're younger or they're a teen or an adult like you, this is relevant for all ages. So they pick the activity that they'd like to do with you, and it doesn't have to be long, just 20 minutes a day, preferably with the younger children. If you can spend 20 minutes per day with the younger children where you do whatever they like to do. So if they like to play with stones, play with the stones.
As long as you are happy, show me this.
Yeah.
You
So you do, you
pick
draw,
it, throw.
you throw, you pick, you
Raba
throw.
raba. I think that's what they call it
In Johannesburg.
Zulu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, somewhere Johannesburg.
Yeah. So whether you're doing that or you're building Lego or you're making puzzles or you're playing dolls or you're playing tea time, whatever your child wants to play, if you can do that for 20 minutes. And if they go to school, you're also talking about school, or you just let them lead the talk and you just follow. So whatever conversation they want to have, you just follow. So you're not imposing your topics or your discipline chats or your anything. You just follow in that 20 minutes. You follow in what you're doing, you follow in what you're saying, you follow in what you're talking about in that 20 minutes. And then with the older children, with the teenagers, maybe you can do that once a week. Just 20 minutes of focused time, one-on-one with the child, where it's child-led as well. 20 minutes once a week, and also with the older children.
See, quality time, even for parent-child relationships, it's a love language.
It will foster the behavior you want, just like in romantic relationships, even with parent-child relationships, and whether there's bad behavior or there's good behavior or when there's bad behavior, it has the potential to actually correct the behavior without you doing much. So that's the first level. Now, I don't think, did we talk about other strategies if there's bad behavior or misbehavior?
Let's get into them.
Yeah.
Because we spoke about
connection as one.
Yes.
So the other strategies around that is, of course, I think what we know, so taking away privileges. So after you've had multiple conversations, etc. So sometimes children, like we said, they will still push boundaries. They will still,
they can see,
want to misbehave.
Mom is going to shout, and then I'll say I'm sorry, and then I'll try it again, and she's going to shout again, and then, you know, so then after that, you've done the talking, what then?
Yeah. So you can take away privileges. And again, the premise is not punishment. The premise is teaching. And
correcting.
What are you teaching? You are teaching that if you continue to do the wrong thing, there will be consequences that you may not like, that will feel otherwise to you, that will be painful to you. That is what you are teaching. So it's not to say you are punishing, hey, no.
Can you see how naturally that comes out of
We are all work in progress, I'm told. Work in progress.
Ooh.
And this is why you start with self-regulating.
Reflection, yes.
Self-regulating first, because in the heat of the moment, those things can come, because children can try you.
And they will. We do like to see how far we can push, so we can measure. Where are you? How can I? Okay.
Yeah, well, so parents, you must be ready, okay? Come. Self towards self before you approach these children and handle situations effectively. So you can maybe take away the devices, you can take away toys if they're younger, you can ground them, so because they need to sit, reflect, have consequences. And I mean, all children like something.
Yes.
So if there was going to be maybe something you had promised to buy for them, some fashion item, the coolest kicks.
Or an outing they wanted to go to, a party they wanted to go to.
Or whatever, you can take away all those things. So yeah, as a way for them to reflect and to know that there will be consequences for continued misbehavior generally in life.
I was going to say, because I guess that is the reality of life. There will be consequences for all actions. Okay, so those are the toolboxes that we're putting in parents, kit in place of corporal punishment.
Yes, and they do work. trust that they do work. I think our example of romantic relationships is brilliant. And I think people can sort of relate.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it works in parent-child relationships, guys. Trust the process. Keep doing these things that we've recommended and you will see a change. And I mean, in severe cases, some children can have behavioral problems. Sometimes it's a developmental disorder or mental health disorder. Then if the behavior continues, please do seek help early for children.
Professional
because sometimes
help,
something else, something more serious is going on with the child.
I want to head over to our hotline. This is a platform for you, mothers and daughters, to come through with any questions, dilemmas, or any input that you feel that you have to have. The WhatsApp line is 072 521 0259. We've put it in the description box below as well. Send us a voice note on our WhatsApp line. We want to hear from you. I've got a question here from a mommy who needs some help. Okay. She says, my 10-year-old son recently hit a classmate at school. I was raised to believe a hiding is the only way to make sure he never does it again. But I also don't want to raise a boy who equates fear with learning. I'm stuck. I want him to respect others, but I also want him to be emotionally safe. What should I do? Ish, mommy.
Yeah. So the child is acting out.
The child is acting out.
How old is the
So
child?
10 years old.
10 years old. Okay. So something is going on. Remember what we said, all behavior is communication of something. So I think that is where we would start, mommy. Dialogue. Find out from the child what is going on, right? So they may not have the language. They may not feel safe enough initially, when you start the conversation. So they will need some assurances from you that, listen, I know you're a good boy. I know you know how to behave well. I know you want to do the right thing. I know this is not who you are. Inflicting pain on another child, another human, is not who you are. I know you're better than this. So you prefix it with that. So what is going on? Because I know this is not you. What happened? What were you feeling in the moment? If they're not able to tell you, were you feeling angry about something? Were you upset? Were you feeling sad about something? Were you frustrated? So take them to that moment when they did that. So they may say the person did something to them, or the person didn't listen to them, or and then you can maybe explore that further. Was it really about that person? Do you think what that person did at school warranted you beating them, really? Or maybe were you upset about something else already? Or did what they did remind you of another time someone else did something similar and you were just tired of it? So you really go exploring together with your child, right? You're problem solving together.
Investigating.
Yes, together. Because again, your role is wanting to teach and to guide and to correct. So you want to help your child in order to figure what was going on and how to better handle it when it comes up again. Whether it's a feeling because of behavior, really, because some children are bullies. Maybe he was bullied and he decided he was sick of it.
It's his turn now.
You see?
Yeah.
So you can never know the circumstances. You really have to ask questions and you have to be patient and lead them, because don't get frustrated when you don't get an answer.
Because they might not understand.
They might not understand. They might not know. They haven't figured. So it's your responsibility as a parent to help unpack this with them and even for them. And then you can now get to the bottom of it, and then you can advise them how to better handle the same situation next time, what to do.
I I like that response because it really emphasizes what you said before about being curious about your child, that there's always something at the root of it. But I think we should also acknowledge the fact that sometimes these behaviors are completely unacceptable, right? And he ought to be held accountable even at 10 years old, because hitting other children at school is a no-no. How would you advise mommy to keep her son accountable still, but not in a way that is okay?
So yes, I know that you are not this person, but you did do it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to teach you how, when a similar thing comes up, you don't do it again. But because you did do it now, there has to be consequences.
Right.
So there absolutely have to be rules. One of the rules is you do not hit people, right? It's a general societal rule. It's a rule that exists here in your
even
family.
in this home.
They cannot hit their siblings. They cannot hit you. They cannot hit, if you've got a helper inside the home, they cannot hit the helper. So they know that already, right? And they've broken a rule, so there must be consequence. But consequence without the unpacking is not helpful, is the point that I want to highlight. So there has to be an unpacking to teach and guide and prevent future repetitive behavior, right? And you're also teaching a child to emotionally regulate and to self-control and to make their own decisions that are good and helpful, right, for themselves. So you're helping their decision-making process as well. So it's absolutely important to have the conversation, but the consequence has got to be there
as well.
Yes.
In partnership.
And it's very important that you raise that, because I don't want to sound like I'm whitewashing everything.
No,
Consequences are actually important. They're as important, because a child who doesn't have rules will also receive their parent as neglectful, actually.
Really?
Because, yes, they will.
The child will perceive their parent that way.
Because children actually want you to parent. They need you to parent. It helps them feel safe.
Yes.
It makes their environment feel predictable, right? And they actually have a sense of safety and security because you're predictable, etc. Children with parents who are very lax, and let children just do whatever, actually struggle with a lot of anxiety.
That is very interesting.
Because the environment is not containing. There are no rules. It's unpredictable. It's uncertain. And it feels unsafe. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
That is children are clever. That is very interesting. Okay, well, thank you for that. And we want to encourage other mothers and daughters out there, if you have any advice or a different perspective on how to handle this and how you've handled it in the past before, please do let us know on our WhatsApp line or in our comments. We're at Dear Mom Pod on TikTok and Instagram. So come and chat to us. Our door's always open.
Please, we'd appreciate that. Everything we chat about here is not prescriptive. No. It's simply helpful and unhelpful ways, based on research, based on experience, based on, just life. So we're very open to hear strategies that you've adapted and that have worked, and those that have not worked. Please do share with us. And I think we'll be talking about this topic. Maybe we'll engage people even on our social media platforms quite a lot, because this is a big one. And I feel like we didn't contain everything in one episode.
There's a lot, yeah.
And I think also it's an important one because it speaks to attachment and who children then will present as in adulthood. Yeah, it's such an important conversation.
Yeah, but I'm glad
we have to leave it here. Yeah.
We do. I'm glad we could touch on it today. How are you feeling, Mama? This is how we like to wrap up each episode, is feelings. I'm laughing because there's probably people out there who are like, "Ooh," all we just prescribe here is talk about your feelings to everything. It's a solution to all the things, including discipline.
It is a solution. It will come up a lot because feelings, connection, being able to identify your feelings and express your feelings is really the cornerstone of being human.
Being a human
and functioning
being.
well. Yes, in relationships, at the workplace, in everything. Yeah.
So it would be remiss of us to not close our episode today Without talking about how you're feeling, what is a word you would describe for how you feel after today's episode, Mama?
Relief.
Relief?
Yes. Relief, because it's so hard to account to certain things, retrospect. It's so hard to hear from your little person how they received some of your decisions, especially ones that I regret. There's some that I regret, especially around discipline, hitting, etc. when you were younger. So so I feel relieved this conversation is gone for now, probably to return at some point, but yeah.
It might come back. I feel intrigued. It's my word for today. I think it's so interesting. I think that today's episode took a turn that I didn't really expect. I mean, talking about discipline, but really realizing that at the core of that is human connection, and just talking about what it is that you feel at the core of it. That's quite interesting, and not something that I would immediately expect until we really interrogate how important human connection is. So I'm quite intrigued. I'm interested to see how much more of our problems can be solved by just talking about your feelings, man. It's really, really interesting. So that's how we wrap up our episode of Dear Mom, Dear Daughter. Moms and daughters, thanks for joining us. Until next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.